To the day's other news now, and Tasmania is going it alone on gay marriage, with the state's Premier vowing to introduce historic reforms. Lara Giddings says current laws are discriminatory. She's promised to introduce changes to Parliament before the end of the year. But members of the party's right faction aren't impressed, saying most Tasmanians want the law to remain the same. The Premier will join us just after.
Delightful. James Tobin there at the Saudi Arabian Mardi Gras. He's first of its kind. Speaking of which, the whole gay and lesbian agenda, Tasmania may have been the last Australian state to decriminalise homosexuality, but now it's set to become the first to legalise same-sex marriage. Premier Lara Giddings says the time for reform is upon us. The state won't be waiting for Canberra. They're going it alone.
And they say they have solid legal advice backing this historic move. The Premier joins us now from Hobart. Lara Giddings, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sam and Andrew.
Premier, what exactly are you planning to do?
We are intending to bring forward legislation, or in fact debate the legislation that is currently before the Tasmanian Parliament, that would allow for marriage to occur between same-sex couples here in Tasmania.
And what has prompted this now, Premier? What made you decide that now was the time?
Well, this is an issue that, of course, has been in many respects dominating the social policy debate across Australia for some time now. And I have a fundamental view that there has been a tipping point that has reached where more in the community want this discrimination to be removed than those who don't. There are certainly many within the community who still do not believe that there ought to be marriage between same-sex couples. But the Labor Party here in Tasmania has said for some time now through our state conferences that we believe that this is a discrimination that must come to an end. And the Parliamentary Labor Party believes that the time is now for that discrimination to come to its end.
OK, now your federal colleagues in Canberra have really dodged this issue. They're not really facing up to this, and there is a huge groundswell out there of support for this. Can Tasmania do this without Canberra?
Well, firstly, can I say that I think that Julia Gillard is doing the right thing in allowing our Labor Party members in Canberra to be able to have a conscience vote on the matter when it is debated in the federal parliament. And it's disappointing that Tony Abbott is not allowing his Liberal colleagues the same rights. And I would certainly ask Will Hodgman, the opposition leader here in Tasmania, to provide the opportunity for his Liberal colleagues to have a conscience vote on this matter when it is debated within the Tasmanian Parliament. Now, certainly we do believe that we can go ahead with introducing this legislation. That's not to say that it couldn't be or wouldn't be challenged down the track, but I believe there is enough evidence there's enough legal opinion to be able to say that this could have a successful passage through the High Court.
So, sorry, Premier, to interrupt, in case other states were thinking of following your lead on this, constitutionally, what is the situation with regards state powers to make laws with respect to marriage?
Well, there is a variety of legal opinion out there, as you would expect on any issue of this nature. And that is up to others to be able to put forward all of that legal opinion that's been out there. But certainly there is sufficient to say that there is nothing to preclude the state government from progressing down this pathway. And of course, if it ends up being challenged in the High Court, it will become a matter for the High Court to determine. But I don't think that we'll have any problem finding any lawyers who will want to take on this case.
Probably not.
So. Premier, there is quite an irony here. Tasmania was the last state to decriminalise homosexuality in 1997, which just seems extraordinary these days. How will Tasmania now become the first state to make same-sex marriage legal? How have things changed so quickly?
Well, Tasmania has been quite progressive in its social reform over the last 14 years or so. In fact, when I was first elected to Parliament in '96, this issue that you've raised of decriminalising homosexuality was one of the first reforms that was successful to go through the Tasmanian Parliament, and we're very proud of that. But since then, we've led the nation on significant relationships laws, which were the first laws to break down other forms of discrimination for same-sex couples. And now we're leading the way on saying the time has come where the last bit of discrimination that the state is involved in, that is legally recognising marriage between same-sex couples, should now be removed. Now, that does not mean that churches will have to perform marriages. I understand and respect the view of many within the community who come particularly from a religious conviction. But this is about the state, and this is about the state recognising that two loving couples or two people in a loving relationship who want to show that commitment to their relationship and have it recognised by the state will be able to have that happen.
Certainly not in Queensland, but maybe in Tasmania sometime soon. You never know. Premier Lara Giddings, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Thanks very much for that. Also read, Sammy, that the economists estimate that the financial boon to Tasmania as a result of same-sex couples travelling to Tasmania in order to get married would be something in the order of $96 million a year.
Wow.
If they're the only state that legalises.
Fabulous.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. Tassie, go Tassie. And it's a good spot to visit anyway.
Terrific
Whether you're
spot
straight
to
or
visit.
gay or whatever you are.
You just like
good spot.
crazy art. Love map reading.
We love Tassie.